The thing that bothered me the most was I had all my music and I left it behind and I said, don't use my music, and of course they did.
For decades, metal fans thought they knew everything about Dave Mustaine. His legendary guitar skills, his founding of Megadeth after being fired from Metallica, and his fiery personality that made him one of thrash metal's most controversial figures. But now, a shocking announcement has sent shockwaves through the metal community worldwide. What decision has rocked the foundations of thrash metal, and how will it change the landscape of heavy music forever? The truth is more stunning than anyone could have imagined. The unexpected announcement. On a cold February morning in 2025, fans gathered outside the Palace Theater in Los Angeles, anticipating what was billed as an important announcement regarding the future of Megadeth. Rumors had circulated for weeks, a new album perhaps, or another world tour. No one was prepared for what was about to unfold. Dave Mustaine, the flame-haired frontman who had defined thrash metal for over 4 decades, stepped onto the stage alone. Absent were his bandmates, his management team, or any record label representatives. The normally confident, often combative musician appeared subdued, almost contemplative. After 42 years of making music, fighting the good fight, and living the metal life to its fullest, I've made the most difficult decision of my career, Mustaine began, his voice steady but emotional. I am permanently retiring from music. Megadeth, as of today, no longer exists. The crowd fell silent. This wasn't just another aging rock star stepping back or taking a hiatus. This was Dave Mustaine, the relentless force who had overcome being fired from Metallica, battled addiction, survived cancer, and released 16 studio albums while touring the world countless times. And he was walking away entirely. The final verdict. What sparked this sudden retirement wasn't creative burnout or health concerns as many initially speculated. As Mustaine continued his announcement, the true reason emerged, and it was as unexpected as it was final. For the last 3 years, I've been engaged in a legal battle that most of you know nothing about, Mustaine revealed. A lawsuit regarding songwriting credits and royalties dating back to our earliest albums has finally concluded. The court has ruled against me. The financial penalties are substantial. Mustaine explained that the lawsuit, brought by former band members who claimed they weren't properly credited or compensated for their contributions to classic Megadeth albums, had resulted in a devastating judgment. The court ordered Mustaine to pay $28.7 million in back royalties and damages, a sum that would require him to liquidate his assets, including the rights to the Megadeth name and catalog. The verdict is in, the sentence is final, and this is goodbye forever, Mustaine said, his voice cracking slightly. I fought this with everything I had, but sometimes even fighting isn't enough. I've been sentenced to musical death, and Megadeth has received the ultimate punishment. The empire he built. To understand the magnitude of this decision, one must first comprehend the empire Mustaine built. After being unceremoniously fired from Metallica in 1983 due to his substance abuse issues and volatile behavior, Mustaine could have faded into obscurity. A footnote in metal history, the guy who played on Metallica's early demos before they became the biggest metal band in the world. Instead, fueled by rage and determination, he formed Megadeth, pushing the boundaries of thrash metal with technical precision and political themes that set them apart from their contemporaries. Albums like Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Component Placement, Rust in Peace, and Countdown to Extinction defined the genre and sold millions of copies worldwide. Megadeth became one of the big four of thrash metal alongside Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax. Through numerous lineup changes, Megadeth had over 20 different members throughout its history. Mustaine remained the constant, the visionary who refused to compromise or surrender. His technical prowess as a guitarist influenced generations of musicians. His distinctive snarl and politically charged lyrics gave metal an intellectual edge it had previously lacked, and his personal feuds, particularly with his former Metallica bandmates, created the kind of drama that kept fans engaged for decades. All of this made his announcement even more shocking. Why would someone who had overcome so many obstacles surrender now? The legal battle revealed. As reporters dug deeper into the legal case that ended Megadeth, a complex picture emerged. The lawsuit had been filed by former band members Chris Poland, Nick Menza, posthumously through his estate, and Marty Friedman, all of whom had been part of classic-era Megadeth lineups. Their claims centered on the songwriting process for albums like Peace Sells and Rust in Peace. While Mustaine had been credited as the primary songwriter, Poland, Menza, and Friedman argued that their contributions had been far more substantial than officially acknowledged. They claimed they had essentially co-written many of Megadeth's most famous songs, but had been denied both credit and appropriate compensation. Industry experts who testified during the trial revealed that this practice wasn't uncommon in the early days of thrash metal, when band dynamics and business arrangements were often informal and poorly documented. But in Megadeth's case, the court found compelling evidence that Mustaine had deliberately minimized his bandmates' contributions to maximize his own royalties. Particularly damaging was the discovery of notebooks from the Rust in Peace recording sessions that showed extensive composition work by Friedman and Menza, alongside audio recordings where Mustaine could be heard acknowledging their input before later taking full credit in official documentation. The industry response. The reaction from the metal community was immediate and divided. Fellow musicians expressed both shock at the outcome and understanding of the underlying issues. James Hetfield, Mustaine's former Metallica bandmate and decades-long rival, made a rare public statement about Mustaine. Dave's contribution to metal can't be overstated. Whatever our personal history, seeing Megadeth end like this isn't what anyone wanted. This should be a wake-up call for bands to get their business straight from day one. Scott Ian of Anthrax was more pointed. This has been the dirty secret of the music industry forever. Founders taking advantage of members who joined later. Dave's not the first, but maybe this case will make him the last. You can't build a legacy on other people's work without eventually paying for it. The legal impact was immediate as well. Multiple legacy bands announced they were reviewing their songwriting credits and royalty arrangements, fearful of similar lawsuits. Music business attorneys reported a surge in calls from concerned artists seeking to formalize or revise old agreements. The personal cost. What fans couldn't see was the devastating personal toll the legal battle and its outcome had taken on Mustaine. Friends close to the musician revealed that beyond the financial penalties, the case had shattered his sense of legacy and achievement. Dave built his life around being the guy who got knocked down by Metallica but created something even better with Megadeth, one longtime associate told Rolling Stone. Finding out that the court essentially ruled he'd done to his bandmates what he always felt Metallica did to him. That broke something in him. Mustaine's daughter Elektra, herself a musician, provided rare insight into her father's state of mind. Dad always took immense pride in Megadeth being his vision, his creation. Having that narrative legally dismantled has been devastating for him. It's not just about the money or even the rights to the music. It's about how his life story has been rewritten by this verdict. The health implications were concerning as well. Mustaine, who had successfully battled throat cancer in 2019, appeared noticeably thinner and more fragile during his retirement announcement. Sources close to the musician claimed the stress of the 3-year legal battle had taken a physical toll that his doctors found alarming. The last concert. 3 months after his shocking announcement, Mustaine agreed to one final performance. Not as Megadeth, as those rights had been surrendered, but simply as Dave Mustaine. The concert would serve dual purposes, as a farewell to fans and as a fundraiser to help pay the legal judgment against him. The venue chosen was symbolic, the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles, where Megadeth had played some of their earliest shows in the 1980s. The small club couldn't possibly accommodate all who wanted to attend, so the show was simultaneously broadcast to theaters worldwide and streamed online, with all proceeds going directly to settling Mustaine's legal debt. The emotional peak came when Mustaine addressed the lawsuit directly between songs. "I won't say I was perfect. I made mistakes. I should have been more generous with credit, with royalties, with acknowledgement. Maybe pride got in the way, maybe anger. But what we created together was special, and no court decision can ever take that away from any of us." The legacy in question. With Megadeth officially dissolved and the rights to the name and music largely transferred to former members as part of the settlement, questions turned to how the band's legacy would be preserved. The court had ruled that any future releases of Megadeth's catalog would need to include revised credits that more accurately reflected who wrote what. A massive undertaking given the band's extensive discography. Music historians and forensic musicologists were brought in to help untangle the complex web of who contributed what to each song. More controversial was the question of whether Megadeth could continue without Mustaine. The settlement gave Friedman and the Menza estate, along with Poland, the legal right to perform and record as Megadeth if they chose to do so. Fans were divided on whether this would honor or tarnish the band's legacy. Friedman, speaking from his home in Japan, seemed reluctant. "I didn't sue Dave to take Megadeth away from him. I sued because I wanted recognition for what I contributed. The idea of Megadeth continuing without Dave feels wrong, regardless of what the legal documents might allow." The next chapter. As the music world attempted to process Megadeth's sudden end, attention turned to what Mustaine would do next. Legally barred from forming a new band that might compete with Megadeth or infringe on its musical style, his options in metal were limited. In his first interview after the retirement announcement, Mustaine revealed plans that surprised many. "I'm going to focus on teaching. Not just guitar, but the business of music. I want young musicians to learn from my mistakes. Get everything in writing, know what you're signing, and treat your collaborators with the respect they deserve." This educational focus took shape as the Mustaine School of Music Business, an online platform offering courses on everything from guitar technique to contract negotiation. Though unable to use Megadeth's music as teaching examples due to the legal restrictions, Mustaine created new compositions specifically for educational purposes. Additionally, he announced a memoir that would tell his side of the story while acknowledging his mistakes. "This isn't about settling scores," he insisted. "It's about honesty, with my fans and with myself." The personal redemption. Perhaps most surprising to longtime observers of Mustaine's often combative personality, was his eventual reconciliation with the very musicians whose lawsuit had ended his career. 18 months after the verdict, Mustaine, Poland, and Friedman appeared together at a Guitar Center event in Hollywood. While not exactly friendly, their interaction was respectful. Mustaine publicly acknowledged their contributions to Megadeth's sound and success, while they expressed appreciation for his vision in founding the band. "We created something special together," Mustaine told the audience. "It took a lawsuit and losing nearly everything for me to say that publicly, which says more about my flaws than theirs, but the music we made still matters, regardless of whose name is on the credits." This unexpected moment of humility from a man known for his fierce pride suggested a personal growth that many had thought impossible. Music journalists who had covered Mustaine for decades noted that losing Megadeth seemed to have freed him from the burden of maintaining his carefully constructed persona. Pride overshadows fairness, and how there can be dignity and purpose even after such a fall.